Mars hangs in the sky like a quiet challenge. To the naked eye, it is merely a red dot, faint, distant, indifferent. It does not beckon. It does not warn. It simply is, circling the sun in a pattern indifferent to human desire. Yet for those who imagine themselves standing on its surface, Mars is charged with meaning, a symbol of ambition, daring, and human curiosity. And in that meaning lies a quiet deception, the idea that reaching it is a beginning, when in truth, it is an irrevocable choice. Distance is deceptive. It is easy to say that Mars is tens of millions of kilometers away, as if that alone defines the difficulty. But space is measured not only in distance, but in time, risk, and vulnerability. Mars is not merely far. Mars is removed. Once Earth recedes behind the hull of a spacecraft, the familiar becomes unreachable. Gravity, atmosphere, ecosystems, family, and civilization all remain tethered to a world shrinking to a point of light. The journey itself is slow, relentless, unavoidable. Launch windows arrive only once every 26 months, dictated by the orbital mechanics of the solar system. Missing that window does not merely delay. It postpones. Years pass before the planets realign. And once departure is underway, there is no easy return. Course corrections are expensive in fuel and limited in scope. Abort options vanish within days. Earth becomes a memory. Mars becomes the horizon, and the space in between stretches indefinitely. In transit, the human body begins to fail in ways invisible to the eye. Bones weaken, muscles atrophy. The inner ear, once finely tuned to gravity, struggles to orient itself. Vision blurs. Immune systems falter. Radiation, unshielded by Earth's magnetic field, pierces cells silently, altering DNA, reshaping tissues, leaving consequences that may manifest only decades later. Space is not violent, not in an obvious sense. It is slow and cumulative. It is attrition disguised as tranquility. Arrival on Mars offers no relief. The planet does not celebrate. Its gravity, a third that of Earth, is enough to feel but insufficient to support the physiology evolved under heavier weight. The air is nearly vacuum. Breathing is impossible without machinery. Temperatures swing wildly. Dust storms envelope the horizon, and radiation is constant. Survival is not a question of courage or skill alone, but of continual vigilance, of precision maintenance, of life lived entirely within systems built by human hands. Even the act of living on Mars transforms humans fundamentally. Days are dictated by artificial light and rigid schedules. Water is rationed. Food must be grown or recycled with near perfection. Waste is not discarded, but managed with care, a closed loop that leaves no margin for error. Life becomes a negotiation with machinery and physics. Autonomy is replaced by dependence on technology, and independence becomes a memory of Earth. Returning to Earth is far more difficult than leaving it. Launching from Mars requires fuel that cannot be taken lightly. Rockets capable of escape must either bring supplies from Earth or synthesize them on-site, in systems untested at scale. Failure is not spectacular. It is quiet. Final. Those who cannot launch remain, indefinitely, tethered to a planet that offers only survival, not comfort, not mercy. Even with a successful launch, months of transit through radiation and microgravity follow. By the time Earth reappears as a blue and green beacon, the human body may be ill-suited to it. Muscle strain, bones fracture, gravity overwhelms. Home, once effortless, becomes alien. Time is another obstacle, invisible yet absolute. Mars missions unfold over years. while life on Earth proceeds uninterrupted. Children are born, parents die, cultures evolve, friends move on. Each message sent across the void arrives delayed by minutes or hours, rendering real-time interaction impossible. Humans on Mars do not just leave a place. They leave the very present of humanity behind. Home becomes frozen in memory, a world remembered but no longer accessible. Psychology, too, reshapes itself under isolation. Confinement to habitats, to recycled air and water, to schedules designed for efficiency rather than comfort, warps perception. The mind must adapt to monotony, to distance, to the absence of natural variation. Social bonds stretch thin, patience frays, cognition shifts. Mars settlers exist in a world both physically and temporally alien, suspended between two planets but truly belonging to neither. Ambition transforms into permanence. The language of missions, once filled with exploration and return, quietly shifts to settlement and colonization. Mars is not a place for temporary visits. It does not tolerate casual curiosity. It is a planet whose challenges are measured not in weeks or months, but in lifetimes. It demands endurance, commitment, and acceptance of isolation. Going there is not a temporary step forward. It is a crossing of thresholds from which retreat is improbable. Even if technology allowed a return, it would not be the same journey. The person who left Earth would not be the same person who came back. Radiation alters the body. Isolation alters the mind. Confinement alters perception. The Earth that awaits would feel foreign, too vast, too uncontrolled, too unpredictable. Gravity, the atmosphere, sunlight, they would all feel unnatural to someone adapted to Mars. Home becomes not a destination, but an illusion. Mars does not forbid return. It merely reshapes it. It imposes a distance measured not only in space, but in biology, time, memory, and identity. Those who leave must accept that home will never truly belong to them again, that the thread connecting them to Earth will stretch and fray. They become, in a sense, permanent exiles, living humans on a distant world, alive, but fundamentally altered, unable to fully reclaim what they once called home. Mars does not offer comfort. It does not offer reward. It does not bend to human desire. It is indifferent, eternal, and demanding. It exists on its own terms, governed by physics, chemistry, and the slow erosion of human endurance. Those who go there are not conquering. They are negotiating existence. Every breath is borrowed. Every day is measured. Every step is an acknowledgement of limits, of irreversibility, of permanence. To go to Mars is to confront the universe in its quietest form, relentless, impartial, and unyielding. It is to understand that some distances cannot be crossed casually, that some journeys are not loops, that ambition has a cost measured not only in effort or risk, but in identity itself. Mars does not forgive. Mars does not wait. Mars does not return favors. And yet humanity continues to dream of it. Because dreaming is easier than reckoning. Because hope demands we imagine steps forward, not reckon with permanence. But those who step forward must understand the truth. When you go to Mars, you do not merely leave Earth behind. You leave a piece of yourself behind as well. Mars does not promise death. It promises distance. It promises permanence. It promises that the line you cross may never be crossed again. Going to Mars is not a journey to a new home. It is a journey to a new reality. A reality in which Earth remains, not a place to return to, but a memory to carry. Mars does not forbid your return. It merely ensures that returning will never be the same. Once you go, you are changed. Once you go, home is never truly home again. And that is the cost of ambition.